All right, we really need to talk about this hidden but incredibly costly trap that's out there for anyone nearing retirement with a health savings account. It's like this phantom penalty that can catch even the most careful planners completely off guard. So let me ask you a straight up question. Are you over 65 and are you still putting money into your HSA? If the answer is yes, you're going to want to lean in and pay really close attention. Seriously, what we're about to cover could save you from a massive tax headache. Because, and I'm not trying to be dramatic here, you might be walking straight into what's known as the HSA retirement trap. Think of it like a dangerous intersection where healthcare rules and tax laws collide. And that crash can lead to some really serious financial penalties. So what is this trap exactly? Well, when you boil it all down, it's a clash between how Medicare handles enrollment and how the IRS looks at HSA contributions. And it's this mismatch that can set off a recurring penalty that just quietly drains your savings year after year. Okay, check this out. It's actually a pretty simple conflict when you see it side by side. On one side, you've got Medicare, which says, hey, if you enroll after you turn 65, we can make your coverage retroactive. We can backdate it by up to 6 months. But then, on the other side, the IRS is crystal clear. They say the second you're on Medicare, even a single day, your ability to contribute to an HSA drops to zero. So you see the problem? That backdated coverage creates this phantom period where you thought you were eligible to contribute, but in the government's eyes, you absolutely were not. Okay, so how does a simple conflict like that turn into a full-blown trap? Let's really dig in and do a forensic breakdown of how this whole thing gets triggered. It's important to see the exact mechanics. This timeline here really lays it all out perfectly. So let's imagine this scenario. You're planning to retire and you want your Medicare to kick in November. Smart move. You apply 3 months early, in August. But here is the killer detail, the part that trips everyone up. The Social Security Administration looks back 6 months from your application date, from August, not from your desired start date in November. So, boom, just like that, your Medicare Part A coverage is considered to have started all the way back in February. And that means every single dollar you put into your HSA from February on is now an illegal excess contribution in the eyes of the IRS. Right, and that's the key term here, excess contribution. See, your annual HSA limit isn't just one big number you can hit anytime. It's actually calculated on a monthly basis. It's prorated. So if that 6-month look-back suddenly cuts your eligibility from, say, a full 12 months down to just 1 or 2, your contribution limit for the whole year just nosedives. And every penny you put in over that new, much lower limit is now officially excess. Oh, and here's another huge one to watch out for. We call it the Social Security trigger. A lot of people have no idea about this. The moment you start collecting Social Security benefits after age 65, you are automatically enrolled in Medicare Part A. You don't get a choice, it's not optional. And that one simple act, just taking those benefits, instantly slams the door on your ability to contribute to an HSA. Probably the worst part about this whole thing is that most people don't even know they've fallen into the trap. Not until months later when they're sitting down to do their taxes. And that's when they get this really, really nasty surprise. So picture this. You're just going about your business, plugging your numbers into your tax software, and all of a sudden, bam, an error message pops up. See, the software is smart. It sees that you told it you enrolled in Medicare, so it automatically recalculated your HSA limit for the year. And now it's flagging that extra money you put in as a huge problem. And here comes the real pain. The penalty for not fixing this is a 6% excise tax. But you have to listen to this part very carefully. That is not a one-time fine. It is a 6% tax you will pay every single year that excess money sits in your account. It's just a slow, painful bleed on your hard-earned retirement savings. Okay, so that's the problem, and it's a big one. But here's the good news. If you catch this in time, there's a very specific way to fix it. It's called a curative distribution, and it's basically a way to tell the IRS, oops, my mistake, and make it like the contribution never even happened. Now, you have to follow these steps exactly. They are non-negotiable. First, and this is critical, do not just transfer the money to your checking account. If you do that, the IRS sees it as a regular withdrawal, and they'll slam you with a 20% penalty plus income tax. No, you must contact your HSA provider and ask for a specific form called an excess contribution removal form. Then, you've got to calculate and remove not just the extra money you put in, but also any earnings that money made while it was sitting in your account. So that little bit of extra you have to take out, that has a name. It's called the Net Income Attributable, or NIA for short. The IRS have a whole formula for it, mainly because your money is all mixed together in the account. The good news is your HSA provider can usually help you figure this out. But the bottom line is simple. To make the problem go away completely, you have to take out the original excess amount plus any earnings it generated. And yeah, how the market is doing plays a big role here. So if your excess contributions were invested and they went up, you have to withdraw the original amount plus the gains. And just a heads up, you'll owe income tax on those earnings. But on the flip side, if the market went down and your investment lost money, the NIA is actually negative, so you'll end up withdrawing a little less than you originally put in. This really sums it all up, the right way versus the wrong way. If you do the proper curative distribution, you're basically telling the IRS that the contribution never happened. You'll only owe a little income tax on any earnings. But if you just do a simple withdrawal, oh man, the IRS treats that like you just took the money out for a non-medical reason, and they will hit you with that massive 20% penalty plus your regular income tax on the whole amount. It's a huge difference. Okay, but what if you're listening to this and thinking, oh no, I already missed the tax deadline to fix this? First, don't panic. All is not lost, but you have moved from prevention into damage control mode. The goal now is just to stop that 6% penalty from hitting you again and again and again. So here's the damage control plan. Step 1, stop the bleeding. You need to withdraw the original excess amount right away. Notice I said just the original amount. You leave the earnings in there this time. Step 2, you have to file a specific IRS form, Form 5329, for each and every year the excess money was sitting in your account. And Step 3, you have to pay up. You've got to pay that cumulative 6% tax for all of those years. Yeah, it's painful, I know, but doing this will stop the penalty from showing up again next year. All right, we've gone through the trap, we've gone through the fix, and we've gone through the damage control. But now, let's talk about the most important part of all. How to make sure this never, ever happens to you to begin with. I want you to remember these 3 golden rules. Rule number 1, play it safe. Stop all of your HSA contributions, and that includes any your employer makes for you, a good 7 to 9 months before you plan to start Medicare. That cushion gives you a buffer for the application window and that 6-month look back. Rule 2, drill this into your brain. Taking Social Security benefits after 65 is taking Medicare Part A. They are one and the same in this context. And rule number 3, when in doubt, just stop. Seriously, it is so much better to miss out on a few months of HSA tax savings than it is to face years and years of compounding 6% penalty. So I'll leave you with this final thought. This whole trap only exists because of the gaps between these different government systems, right? So ask yourself this: is my retirement plan truly coordinated? Have I actually mapped out the precise timing of when I'll claim Social Security, when I'll start Medicare, and when I'll make my very last HSA contribution? Because as we've just seen, getting that timing wrong by even a few months can be a very, very expensive mistake.